How's it going, everybody? My name's Dave Whipple and you're watching Bush Radical. The other day I got tagged by MT Woods Runner in an 8-question, 5-person tag. You answer 8 bushcraft and camping questions, then you pass on the questions to 5 other YouTubers. It was really fun. I had a good time with that. Today I'd like to start a tag of my own. I'd like to put forth the question, what are the top 3 books, outdoor and survival type of books, that have influenced you the most, that have shaped the way you look at the outdoors and about survival? I'm going to give you my top 3 right now, and then I'm going to pass the tag on to 3 other YouTubers. So let's get going. Number 3 for me, Danger. This is a book by Ben East. Nothing Ben East wrote was fiction. Everything Ben East wrote was true accounts of people who suffered terrible tragedies in the wilderness. People die, people have lost limbs to frostbite, to animal attacks. People have been lost in the woods for incredibly long amounts of time. All of these stories are true. They're all accounts that were taken from interviews and put into one cohesive story. So much to be learned from this book. Number 2, Survival. Now this is not a survival book. This is not a how-to book. This is also a Ben East book. Now who is Ben East and why should you care? Ben East is a guy who was one of the editors for Outdoor Life from the 50s to the 80s. And basically, all I really know that he was responsible for, whenever someone was lost or attacked, or any kind of a newsworthy story of survival in an outdoor-related catastrophe, Ben East would travel and talk to everyone involved and write the account. Blood and guts writer, fantastic. My number 1 pick for an outdoor adventure and survival book that has shaped the way I look at things more than any other book. I actually don't have it with me. I think it's in Alaska, but it is Narrow Escapes and Wilderness Adventure, and it's also by Ben East. Now, a friend of ours, Murray Mills from Minnesota, turned me on to Ben East 20 years ago. I've read everything the guy has written 5 or 6 times. All of these books are fantastic. I think he's got 3 collections. And by collections, I mean each one of these books has probably, 20 stories in it. Ben East is a fantastic author. He's a guy that is so under the radar. I'm amazed that more people aren't aware of who he is, what he's wrote, and the value of what he brings to that kind of discussion, outdoor survival. So here's the question. Why did I pick 3 books by the same guy? There's a lot of other choices out there. There's Morris Kohansky, Kephart, Baird, Ellsworth Jaeger, Nesmik. There's a giant list of people that everyone is familiar with, at least by name, that writes books in that genre. The difference being is I've never been able to learn anything from any of those books. Nothing at all. None of it sticks with me. Please don't take offense to that. All those books are extremely important. They're cornerstones in the outdoor survival world. I just don't think that way. The way that information is presented, like this is what you do here, this is how this is done, it's very much a curriculum type format. And none of that stays with me. If I've read 3 pages of Morris Kohansky in my whole life, that's probably all I've ever read. Kephart doesn't do anything for me. I can't pick up anything from that. I'm not wired to learn anything in that format, I guess. However, a cautionary tale where you are told a story about someone who is also an outdoor enthusiast, who's had plenty of time in the woods, who maybe misses a small detail, maybe has a slight communication error, and then has to survive a horrendous tragedy because of it. And those kind of stories really stick with me. Where you see someone has went out and went about a routine fishing trip, routine hunting expedition, routine camp out, whatever, and just a small detail has turned into disaster. Those kind of stories resonate with me. I can sit down and read all 3 of these books in the next week and enjoy them as much as I did the first time. They're just a gold mine of useful, practical information that you kind of absorb the exact opposite way you would an information book. I get comments on this channel all the time that people appreciate the different angle I try to bring to the table in survival and bushcraft and, you know, homesteading and that sort of thing. And it's just because, you know, we all have different backgrounds. We all think differently. If you've read through a lot of the books that are extremely prevalent in this genre, Kephart and Morris Kohansky, Ellsworth Jaeger, and you don't absorb as much from them as you'd like to, I would say please give Ben East books a try. And I know you're going to enjoy the stories. You can't help but like the way the guy writes. He's a fantastic writer. And through a completely different process, you'll learn so much about being careful, what to look for that has tripped other people up who are probably just as able as you or I. Little things that you might never think about have ended in disaster for people. And you gain a perspective and you gain an understanding of how important little things are and how important being safe in certain circumstances is by reading the accounts of people who weren't so careful and paid the price for it. Fantastic books. These are my top 3. If you're like me and you kind of just process things different and you want something that's entertaining and is going to give you a gold mine of perspective, Ben East. All 3 of my top books, I'm gonna have to say, are Ben East. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this top 3 survival and outdoor books. The books that have influenced you the most, the books that have shaped the way you look at survival and the outdoors. Now that I've given you my 3, I want to pass this tag on to 3 other YouTubers. Number 1, Chris Killinger. The name of his channel is just Killinger. He does a lot of antique tool restoration. He's a fantastic leather worker, interesting guy. So Chris, if you get a chance and you'd like to put out a video on your 3 most influential outdoor survival books, I want to tag you. Number 2, I want to tag Chris Wilkes. Chris Wilkes is a good buddy of mine, alumni from season 4 of Alone. Chris, buddy, if you get a chance and you want to, I want to tag you in this challenge too. And third, I would like to tag MT Woods Runner. He tagged me last week. I'd like to tag him back. Woods is a really cool guy. I'd like to hear what he's got to say. And so Woods, if you get a chance and you want to, shoot a video on your top 3 favorite books. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I ran down my top 3 books. I hope to see some videos from the folks that were tagged, and if anybody else wants to jump in and post a video, just let me know and I'd love to come check your video out too. My name's Dave Whipple and you've been watching Bush Radical. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Thank you for watching. Be radical, eh? See you soon.